Okay, we got that going. Um, if you guys are in the chat, say what's up. I'm about to get ready to do a tier list video. I'm about to do a tier list video for the Astral Ascent weapon tier list, weapon passives. Put that one in front. I don't know why it's so dark. I'm gonna exit out that one. Excuse the pups. Bear with me while I'm setting everything up. Shouldn't be too long. All right. So I just wanted to say before we get started with the live, um, all the information that I compiled is from Lightbringer as well as my own testing. He gives me a lot of icons and stuff like that. If you guys enjoy this type of content, just let me know. If you like it live or whether you like it more scripted, the scripted videos take a little bit longer to make as long as, I do all the editing myself. If you guys do any editing or anything like that, you could just let me know and, maybe we could work something out. I'm about to set up these icons real quick for the character. I don't know why we gotta add one by one, but I guess it's cool. So we're gonna change that to Ayla, broken. And we're gonna add the icons slowly but surely, but I noticed it wasn't really announced either. Um, but hopefully you guys could just jump in here, say what's up, if we could chat it out, everything like that. Great. We got the cool tier, and then we got the meh tier. Meh. Just give me 1 second. Gotta get the icon for the actual weapon. The meh tier. Lightbringer really gave me a lot of stuff, man. He's cool, dude. Really cool, dude. Really cool. Let me just send this over. So we're gonna start it off with, um, Isla's Luna daggers. That's like her signature weapon. Um, two short range daggers. They're not really bad weapons. A lot of the weapons in the game don't really have too much of a range disparity, I would say. Like most of the range weapons either have a blind spot, but the melee weapons usually are like, they have more coverage. Those usually are the main differences between the weapons. Um, and each character usually has three passives per weapon. I'm gonna be ranking the weapons individually and putting the passives in there. I think that's a little bit better rather than having, you know, just multiple different areas where it just don't make sense. Kind of wouldn't make sense. So I'm gonna try to do it that way to, give them their own individual kind of experience. Their own different, their own individual strengths to highlight them that way. Let's see here. Looking through my notes as well. All right, so we're gonna start off with the parting gift. Parting gift, if you haven't seen it before, is kind of like the ability where the daggers go through them after you kill them. With each enemy slain, you can create a dagger, and it'll travel back to you. Um, I would say the ability is about finishing enemies. I wouldn't say it's broken. I don't know if you ever seen the ability, but when it comes to that ability, it's not really the best. In my opinion, it's kind of cool, more so. It's like not really the best. The daggers can miss you as they're passing through. They're trying to get to you. You might be up in the sky, the daggers might go straight up to you and not really through the enemy if they're directly below you. Like it's very positioning based. I'm not gonna hold. It's very positioning based. So really, it does decent damage. And another cool thing is when it comes to, one of the Destiny level modifiers. I forgot what it's called. Um, the invincibility clones. When you get the invincibility clones, they usually die off, the ghosts, and then they still create daggers after that. So you can also use that. So it has a couple cool things for it. Not really all that. It's okay. Next we got the gliding star. That's on dash. You can leave behind a shuriken that travels back to you. It's a multi-hit generating projectile, so it's a lingering projectile, so it's not that bad. You could dash away, and it shoots it away from her. So maybe you could dash away from the boss or enemies to get distance, and then use that. So I would say, and honestly, I've seen it on the global damage modifier thing. It does a lot of damage. It honestly does a lot of damage if in certain situations, especially when you what you call it. It can create like counter hit the critical hits, so you can trigger those off because multiple hits. That's the good thing about multiple hits. So I would say is great. I would say it's great. The only thing is when it's coming back to you, sometimes it takes a long time to come back to you. So sometimes it's like a little bit of downtime if it's not directly pointed towards the enemy. So that's the only thing. But other than that, I would say it's great. It could be cool if you aren't properly using it, if you're not aiming at them. But overall, it's a great ability. Um, Next up, we got the Ayla's daggers. So, not Ayla's daggers. I'm sorry. Night Veil, Night Veil. So pretty much it gives you an additional jump and it launches a fan of kunai towards the ground. Um, Now you would think that in a game like this that double jumps aren't really all that, but I could tell you now that's not really the case. Um, it's actually really broken. Having extra jumps, you can jump over a lot of things and avoid a lot of ground sweeping attacks, as I call them. Those ground sweeping attacks do a lot of damage, and it's crazy how you could just jump up in the sky and then you could linger in the air. I call it air stalling. And we have a video, an advanced video guide on that. If you would like to watch that, it's an advanced video talking about all the mechanics in the game. So honestly, it's really good. It's really good. Um, it's a really good passive. I'm not gonna hold. Um, so those are the weapon passives compared to these three right here for this weapon. Each character has about four weapons that they can use. So these are the passives and things like that for this one. Um, I'm about to gather the other weapon. Just give me 1 second. I do plan on making more of an explanation video, but that will take a little bit longer just to show it in game. I just want to chat it out, talk with you guys. Feel like it's a lot more chill that way. I won't really have to worry about, I guess you could say time constraints and things like that. Because I don't want you guys to be waiting. So this is just content to hold you guys over. Like I said, I want to schedule this next time. So if you guys like this kind of content, we could do it like that. Um, we got the katana. The katana, that's she has a katana, Ayla. Let me give you. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Am I missing one? No, 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 no. I thought I was. I'm gonna just put all of these in here. Just give me 1 second. I'm setting up all of these icons. She has a lot of them, honestly. All right, that's a duplicate. All right. Just give me one moment, guys. Just setting it up again. I'm gonna just put all these things here so it just makes more sense. And I could just put all, do them one by one. If you hear, I have the game running in the background, so if you hear anything like that, sorry.
Hey, got a minute for me? Let me show you.
So let's go in with Ayla. Keys get stuck sometime. How annoying. All right, so we got the ray of light for her her moonlight blade. Um, it does some good extra damage. I think it's solid. Um, it's you gotta hit the full six things of combos in order to get it, the full length of the combo to get it. So, and it gives you a little bit of extra range as well. It's not bad. It's super easy to use. So if you just want an extra good perk, I would consider it to be actually a great, especially for beginners. So it's not bad. It doesn't do everything that you want. There's certain abilities that are way better than that. But I mean, you can't go wrong with that. You honestly can't go wrong with that. You can't. Next we have Judgment Cut. Now, I'm not gonna kid you on this right here. Judgment Cut is broken, in my opinion. Actually skipped one. That was the next one was actually Starfire. Starfire, my bad. This is Starfire. So Starfire is, uh, I would say it's cool. You get the mana regen off of each hit, but it's not really all of that, to be honest. Setting that all up is not easy. You could get hit while setting some of this stuff up. Um, because you gotta dash through them. You essentially dash through them to get that ability off. So it's not really all that. It's not. Honestly, I'm gonna have to rank this very, at the cool tier. It's just, when you look at it and you try it out, you'll notice it. You'll honestly notice it. Actually, that was the judgment cut right there, icon. But I just want to let you know, ray of light is not all that. Ray of light is not all that. I'm not even gonna kid you. Judgment cut is broken. Judgment cut. Let me tell you about that. I'm gonna put that other icon on there in a second. Judgment cut broken, in my opinion. Um, it has a little bit of startup, but essentially what you do is it kind of like creates a hit on the strongest the highest HP target, and it instantly kills them except for like zodiacs and bosses. But when you're facing a zodiac or a boss or something like that, it does insane damage, insane damage. It has a little bit of startup, so that's the only thing you have to be careful of. But overall, I think that when you use it and you use it properly, it can do so much damage. So much damage. Try and get this there we go. Ray of light is judgment cut broken. Judgment cut broken. Not gonna hold. All right. And let's get it in with she has a third weapon which is she has a third weapon which is sorry, the the eclipse shards. Now honestly, her first one, the Kusaragami, the Kusaragama's Fury. Is when you do a fall attack, it releases a chain that pulls you towards pulls five enemies towards you. Honestly, it's not good. It's not good. I'm not even gonna hold you. It's not good. It's not good. I gotta put this. Hold on. It's hard to switch through windows on this thing because hold on. I don't know why it's not letting me switch through my what you call it. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. So yeah, I would say it's meh. You could end up getting hit by stuff like that. Like you dragging people into you, it can end up getting you hit. I'm not even gonna hold you. There's been times where I've used the skill and it gotten me hit. The next one is inner demon. Um, for this one right here, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Not bad. It's kind of easy to use because you just um, click your signature skill, and it unleashes a clone that travels towards you. So it's not bad. It's not bad, honestly. It's not bad. Very simple to use. Clear out mobs. Um, you could change the cooldown as well, so it's not bad. It's not bad. It's cool. It's cool. I think it has some uses. It's not great, I think, in my opinion, because it doesn't do a lot of damage. But overall, it's not a bad ability. The next one we have is Hunter X Hunger, and I'm not gonna hold. It's broken. It's broken. It's broken. It's broken. Let me show you the Kusanagi shards real quick, just so you know. We won't forget. Sorry for the downtime. I just want to chill with you guys, just explain the video, explain all of the different weapon passives and things like that. So we got the Kusanagi blades right there. It's not bad. It's not the Kusanagi shards. I mean, Eclipse shards. They're not bad. Not bad. The Hunter X Hunger. Let me explain that real quick. So essentially, every time you get a kill, you get a one stack of hunger, and it gives you 5% movement, 5% attack speed, and 10% movement speed. You know, essentially every second, every three up to 3 seconds, you get it that movement speed. I ain't gonna hold and during a whole match, you notice that is way too long for you to have that. You will be having those stacks forever. It's really good, really good. Especially in fight rooms when you have a whole bunch of enemies and you just wiping through them. It's really good. It's really good. It's really good. Um, what do we have next? Um, Next we have her throwing knife. Her throwing knife. All right, this one right here, her throwing knife. So that's her range weapon. Honestly, it's not bad. Um, it's not bad. We're gonna start off with her first passive. Charge knives. So essentially, every 4 seconds you get to throw an explosive knife. Um, Honestly, I would say I gotta think because during my testing, it's kind of like a lot of different factors that you gotta kind of think about when using it. I mean, it's very simple in that aspect where you don't really have to think about it too much. You just throw it as soon as your fourth one comes in, and then you're good. You don't really gotta worry about too much else. Um, it gives you a little bit of amount of regen. So I would say it's honestly a cool ability. I would say it's not like changing the game or anything like that. It's like more so, you use it. And honestly, when you combine different weapons together, you kind of see how even you don't have to have a whole bunch of explosive passives. Now you can and you get benefit from it, but you want to have something that's readily available to you and to be able to access it. Like the charge knife, you get it every 4 seconds, so there's a benefit to having that. It just doesn't do a lot of damage, but a lot of your other stuff can do a lot of damage. It's all about how you want to make your own build. You can be very creative in this game, so that's another thing. Honestly, not a bad ability. Not a bad ability. Cool. It's a cool ability. Now, Tri-Fang Assault. That is like a pretty essentially you can collect a knife randomly around the field, and you gain 3 orbs. So each basic attack, it consumes 1 orb, and it launches 3 small knives. So honestly, it got a lot of great AOE. Honestly, it's you could just go. You naturally run around the map, and if you have things like Hunter X Hunger, you can just go grab the knife immediately because of your movement speed buff. If you want to combine that with that, that's another recommendation right there, where you can have throwing knives and the cous- the sh- the eclipse shards equipped. So you get a lot of benefit to it. Honestly, it's a really good ability. I'm gonna say that um I would say this is a broken. I would say this is broken. I could say this is broken. Um. Then we have Slitting Fury. Honestly, it's kind of. I would say to me, honestly, is not really all of that in my testing. I would say is at least a cool ability. I would say it's a cool ability. I would say it's a cool ability. In all honesty, it's a cool ability. And I might be sleeping on it a little bit because, like I said, when it comes to multi hits, you can get crits that way by having multiple hits, lingering hitboxes, things like that, to get crits and activate different aura effects. So I would say it's simple. You just use it and then boom, you just got a bunch of kunai surrounding you. So I would say it's cool, maybe even great, depending on it. I'm not 100% sure. I've tested it, and it was seemed more like a cool ability. These aren't ranked or anything like that, but if you wanted to rank it, I would probably, me personally, I would put like maybe Judgment Cut up there. Then I'll put Hunter X Hunger. Then you got Night Veil, and then you got Trifang Assault. Gliding Star, Ray of Light is great abilities. You got Parting Gift, Ray of Light. Um, I forgot this one. This one is not bad. I would say this because it's more simpler. This I'll put this in the middle. Ray of Light has some do some setup. You could put this right here, and then this one I'm unsure of. You can honestly put it right here if you want to be what you call it, because like I said, layering hitboxes are really good. Honestly, yeah. All this is how I would put Ayla's stuff at. Her abilities. Um, so yeah, and she has a really unique tool set. She's an assassin, so you get a lot of benefit from that. Um, I think that'll be her all of her weapons actually. Yeah, that'll be all of her weapons. So I'm gonna just I'm gonna just leave it. I'm gonna leave it like this. If you want to screenshot it, you can. I'll leave it just like this for a few seconds, just so you can see how I would rank it. Honestly, I would suggest running weapons like Tri-Fang Assault with you can run Tri-Fang Assault with Judgment Cut. Um, Hunter X Hunger with Judgment Cut is also really good in my opinion. You could run Night Veil Judgment Cut just so you can stay up high in the air and be safe with the Judgment Cut. Um, you know, there's a bunch of different abilities and ways you can use them. I would recommend all of those ways, maybe. All of the weapons have their own unique things, so I would say just experiment with these ones in particular. All right, let me put these down here. Who is next? Who is next? I think Kieran is next, right? Maybe I'm gonna make a new one. Yeah, I'm gonna make a new one. I'm gonna make a new one. Just so it could be less cluttered, way less cluttered. Let me put all of those in. Kieran is up next. Kieran is really good. Um, honestly, he's really good. He has a lot of unique passives. His parry is really good, honestly, really really good. Get this one, snap, sword juggling. Let me see if this one is for him. Yeah, this is for him. See how many different passives there is? And then we gotta get Kieran all his weapons. Say what's up if you guys are watching. Just setting up the next tier tier list right here. Um, Getting through all of those is kind of quick once I had everything set up. So I'm gonna set everything up. We're gonna do it weapon by weapon. And if you guys got any questions for me, just ask. You know what? I'm gonna have hit them with each of their weapons. Um, let's do it that way. Share. Kieran's Falchion. Yeah, it's a move. The one called the Nutcracker. His fist. And the bow style. All right. So I think the first one is just Kieran fist. I believe. My guy's kind of simple. Kind of simple. Raging fists. There we go. Raging fists. So Kieran's raging fists will be first. Um, the first ability would be, I think, Sonic Bam. Yeah, that'll be Sonic Bam. Give me one sec. Trying to see which one. All right, so essentially what Sonic Bam does is until he gets hit, his basic attack have extended reach, and that lasts about, it can be reactivated after 6 seconds after. So honestly, this is a really good skill. Um, really good skill, in my opinion. Um, I would rename the tiers, but I feel like that's just too much work right now. But do that afterwards. So I'm gonna put this in the broken tier. I'm gonna put this in the great tier. I'm gonna put this in a great tier. Honestly, um, I would say maybe put that in great because that makes his weapon a lot better. In terms of range, he has issues with range, and a lot of the the range weapons have like dead zones in them. He don't really have any range weapons, so he don't really gotta worry about that. But when it comes to the range weapons, you don't really gotta worry about that. It's a really good ability. It's a really good passive. Let me just change this broken rate. All right, I'm gonna just leave it like that. So Sonic Bam, great ability, honestly. Um, all right, sorry about that. So the next one we have Come and Get It. So essentially, when you do Come and Get It, it drags the enemies towards you. You get invincibility, and you get the dash afterwards. Before your iframes run out. So I would say it's not bad. Um, I would say it's cool because it's not really boosting anything. It's just an makes your I guess your ability more consistent. But against bosses, it doesn't really help. Like when you do the counter and then it drags them towards you, like it's not really like it helps with dragging enemies towards you. But I would say it's cool. It's a little underutilized, but against boss enemies, it doesn't really help that much. All right, so we got flower power, and honestly, it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. It doesn't scale with anything. The projectiles are slow. Uh, Essentially, in each room, you get your first four basic attacks create these little fireballs. They're slow. They're not really all of that. Every time you parry, you can get two more, but they're really slow. It doesn't really do a lot of damage, and it's not really all that. It's really not. I ain't gonna hold that junk is garbage. It's a garbage. Do not use flower power as Kieran. Do not. You will save yourself a lot of time. Do not use that passive. Next up, we will have Kieran's bow staff. That's his next weapon. Um, his next ability would be explosive anger. So when you parry, it creates sorry about my dog. They're acting crazy in the background. Excuse them. Um, so essentially, I believe this is one of the best ones. Um, One of the best ones. I will honestly put it in great. All right, so essentially, if you parry, it creates a huge explosion. So it creates a lot of AOE around your parry. Um, it doesn't count as your signature hit for some reason, so you don't get like boosts from the weapon passive. So I gotta deduct some points for that, honestly. That that wasn't really. I think that really sucks. It kind of holds it back just a little. But having that ability to just do all of that damage like around you is not that bad, all things considered. I think when he throws out his fist or throws out like a kick or whatever the case may be to counter, that part is the main damage source of it, not the AoE around it. So it's still a good ability, don't get me wrong, because when you don't get the hit, you still get something. And I think you could couple that with the one of his prowesses that'll allow him to do it a second time. So it has some really good uses. Um, I think that the next one is the BOGO stick. So the BOGO stick, essentially what it does is it turns your double jump into a basic attack. Now, essentially what that does when you jump, you can and when it comes to basic attacks, I don't know if you know, you can regain your jump when hitting somebody with a basic attack. So that kind of makes it cool. When you double jump, it has some unique applications, and you could infinitely bounce on top of their head too. So that's another thing. So I would say it has a little bit like you have to learn it. I would actually put it in great because the utility of having a move, that you have a double jump that actually does basic attack damage. There's actually things like prowesses that give you a critical hit on top of a chance of dropping, hitting missiles when you get the critical hit, I think. So that's honestly amazing when you get that, when you get stuff like that, when you turn it into a basic attack. You can also get free stacks or whatever else you want. The next one we have magnetic personality. Now, honestly, I think it does a lot of damage. It's not really that easy to use, and it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. I would think this is actually like a cool ability because it takes a little bit of skill, but because it drags them towards the tip of the blade. Essentially, what the last attack drags them in into one part at the tip of his staff. So it doesn't make it like risky, as risky. You gotta be careful because a certain destiny level modifiers might have like the spiky shield or whatever the case may be. So you gotta worry about that. So all in all, I think this is a cool ability. It does a lot of damage, don't get me wrong. But just in practice, it's kind of hard to hit. It's kind of hard to maintain that, especially when you keep getting hit. If you get hit, if you take a lot of hits, it's not gonna benefit you as much. It's kind of punishing in that aspect where you won't really have a passive if you keep getting hit. All right, so the next one we have is the fiery falchions. Um, so we have hit marker. Um, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, honestly. Every 6 seconds, a mark appears on a random enemy, and when you hit it, boom, just a nice explosion. Has a decent AOE. Got some nice damage on it. So honestly, it's just very simple as well. Like you just hit the target, whoever is on there. Really good. Next one is Santo Ryu. Um, it it boosts your range. So, at it boosts your range. I think this is a really good ability. The only thing I gotta deduct some points only because it it the lower part when you throw a lower hitbox, it doesn't hit. So you have to kind of space yourself. It's not that bad. It's honestly not that bad. Just a few points. Easy to use because all you have to do is grab the swords. So I would just put this at great. I would just put this at great because at the end of great. Um, we got sword juggling next. Sword juggling is honestly that's one of my favorites right there. Um, yeah. And by the way, cool is like a B. C tier is probably like the worst. Honestly, like some of them, like honestly, uh, flower power I believe it's called flower power. That junk would be like garbage, like F tier. But I'm gonna just put it in C, like meh, like you got some utility, but it's not really that useful at all. Um, yeah. So things like that when you consider in the list, just know that when it comes to this, it's kind of like more so, a lot of these are viable, and not a lot of them are that bad to pick. It's just combining them together to make a decent build. All right. So we going over to sword juggling, my bad, with him. Honestly, I would say sword juggling to me. I'll put this in S tier. It's just simple, a lot of longer lingering hitbox. It goes a good distance. Honestly, just a great weapon. Now the last one, I'm sorry, is the Nutcracker from Kieran. So we got the Deadly Chicken. This is this one right here. So essentially, every 4 seconds you gain an orb, and when you dash, it drops a powerful bomb around the field. Now, I would say it's like good. It's like decent. It's like decent. It's easy to use. It's somewhat easy to use if you position yourself right. Remember, using your dash is like a kind of a resource, so you have to worry about that. Um, but all in all, I think it's decent. I'll say it's pretty cool. I'll say this is pretty cool. I'll say this is way cool. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. It's really simple. You just dodge, and then there's a bomb right there, and then you could probably they could probably run into it. I didn't really feel like there's much else to say there. The next one is Tectonic Burst. I ain't gonna hold. When I was using this during a run, and this guy told me during the live run that I had like late night, I ain't gonna hold. It was really good. It's really good. A lot of AOE. Um, if you want to just switch over to it, just for that quick big damage right there, and then switch back, you have that aspect to it. Um, I would say it has a. It's really good. It's really good. This one right here is about to go on S. Honestly, when I used it, I was honestly surprised at how good it was. Um, every seconds it just creates a big attack. A big attack that bashes the ground and just does. It's a lot of AOE. Really good move. It does a lot of damage too. Um, and then we have the KO Bam. Now, essentially, what it does is, um, and when you land a basic attack, you have a 15% chance of randomly spawning a orb. And when you catch the orb, you get 5% strength each for 10 seconds. Now, if you if you grab it's kind of hard to use. Let me put it like that. It's kind of hard to use. Gaining all of those stacks is kind of hard to use. I'm going to put this in cool. I think it has a lot of good parts to it because, you know, gaining up strength is ridiculous. Gaining extra strength and using that with a spell is honestly like bonkers. But when it's kind of hard to gain those stacks and you don't get them just what you call it. You could kind of save up all of the stacks and then use them at once if you want to just grab them like that. But I feel like that's a little unoptimal. But it has a lot of potential in that aspect too. Honestly, pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Pretty good. Um, So that will be all of Kieran's weapons. I would honestly say this one. I would honestly put this one up here too, higher, because it's just really solid. I'll put this. I'll put this second, because it's just honestly just a solid move. This I'll put this first. Long layer hitbox. Critical hits. The more hits, more critical hits. You know, different things like that. Sonic Bam extends it. Um, just really solid abilities. I would say the cool tier is more like utility. Is a lot of utility to them. Well, there's utility is like more niche, whereas these ones can cover a lot of bases just because of how much damage it does. Like having that one hit marker just come out of nowhere on an enemy, and then just being able to do a massive amount of damage on them, and then you just wait a little while for the next one to come out of nowhere. It's pretty good. This one just does a lot of damage in a long, wide area, and you could just wait and use another weapon while you're waiting on the other one. So, I would say if you want to use different weapons together, honestly, Sonic Bam and in a lot of other ones is really good because you get that extra range on your fists. You could do like Sonic Bam Explosive Temper, Sonic Bam Bogo Stick. You can do Santo Ryu Tectonic Burst because you could wait to collect the swords and you get that extended range, or you could do sword juggling, tectonic burst. Um, honestly, these ones are not that bad. You could probably do magnetic personality into tectonic burst. Things like that where you setting up things like, you just got to kind of think of how you want to play and how effective it is. Um, but yeah, I would say there's the weapons aren't really what you call. You want to kind of match the passives more so. So honestly, not bad, not bad, not bad set of skills. I'm gonna go up to the next one. I'm gonna just kind of. I hope it's I hope it's recording that. I hope. Okay, it was. It was kind of a little bit messed up because of this whole thing right here, and I'm scrolling. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go to Octave next. If you guys are watching, just let me know. Just chilling, just talking. If you guys want to talk during it, I don't mind. Trying to find the next bit of weapon passives. So we got Octave next. Octave has a lot of ranged weapons, to be honest. Um, and what I can say, like I said before, is that not that it's a, a bad weakness, but having it to where you have to play around a dead zone because you're not going to be able to shoot directly down. Like you have to shoot at an angle. So him, you will never want to use a lot of range weapons with him. You want to at least have one, at least one, at least one melee weapon, at least one. About to put up all of the passives. Mm. Honestly, they got a lot of good passives in here. As I was using him, I was liking him more and more only because like his passives are like kind of OD. A lot of a lot of utility, I would say. A lot of different utility. Just setting up everything. Why didn't that go on there? It's not popping up. Interesting. I know I clicked it. Hold on.
I want to.
Sorry, just gotta set this up. Kind of, I don't know why. It's not really reading. Um, one of the icons that I put here for some reason. All right, so we got three, three, three. So we're missing one, which is that one right here. Okay, no. All right, I think that be all of them, and then I just have to get the weapons together for him. Um, I would put some music on in the background, but unfortunately, when it comes to YouTube, they be wildin'. They be wildin'. They will take this down immediately, and I'm trying to have it up for the most part. Um, Honestly, I'm thinking about doing some gameplay, more gameplay streams as well, just because I feel like there's not really a lot of it around, and the game is really good. It's just, I guess maintaining people. Got pistols, got cannon, got gunblade, got wheat. All right, so we're gonna go to the Pistor Vocatus. So that will be his first weapon. That's how you call it. Pistols, if you want to make it short, not do all that. We got the Orbis Minoris. This is his range weapon. He has about a couple range weapons, two of them in fact, and then two melee weapons. Um, for Orbis Minoris, you will summon Pluto, and it's a flying drone. It follows you around and launches a close basic attack on hit, and it disappears after 5 shots. And honestly, it's not. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Um, I think eventually, like later on, it's just a really good damage, like consistent damaging tool. When I was using it, sometimes I felt like it was lacking sometimes, but that's just because sometimes you just don't really notice it. Sometimes you gotta look at the damage numbers, and it kind of like tells you over the course of the game how well and how much damage something is doing. But yeah, it's just very simple, very easy to use. So I would just put this in the great tier. I'm gonna just put this in great because it's really simple. Um, really simple. We're just gonna leave our pro tags in S because they're always broken when we use them, right? Let's go. So that, yeah, it's pretty simple. Um, Next up we got the Conosio Icor. Um, yeah, this shit is busted. Excuse my language. This is busted. Um, when you collect that shot, it's essentially on collecting a the bullet that randomly spawns in the field. Your next basic attack ricochets up to 6 times between enemies, and the bullet appears every 5 seconds. Essentially, every time it first of all, the ricochet does so much damage in and of itself. Just it hitting you, and then it ricochets back and forth into 6 things until it just kills it. Broken. 5 seconds is short. Um, it regens mana, does mad damage. Um, it can hit enemies from like mad, like as long as they're on the screen, mad far. It's just one of his best passives, honestly. One of the best. If you know, if you use his gun and you use that, it's broken. Um. So next we got the area. Hold on, did I add that one? Looks like it's not here. Hold on, let me add that in here. Let me add that in there. Uh, I don't. Where? I thought I had that one. Hold on, guys. I thought I had that one. Don't tell me I didn't copy it. Oh no 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 no! I found it. I found it. I found it. I found it. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry, guys. I got your back. Don't worry, I got your back. Just gotta add this in here. All right. So when it comes to the area meritus, what would I say? Let me think on that. Honestly, it's really good. Um, you can only use it in fight rooms, but if you're not using it for um fight rooms and eclipse rooms, essentially, so you could essentially just use this as your off weapon, and then just use this to just clear a room that you just do not want to deal with. Um, so if you want to clear rooms, I would say it's great for that. It's pretty limited in its scope because you can only use it in fight rooms. So that's like the real bummer of it. It's like you can't. It's that's this as how far as it goes. So I would say it's really good. It's just that limitation is like very limiting, and you only use it once. The first attack, that's it. So it's not bad. It's not bad. All right, let's go over to the exterminatum explemoris. I can't pronounce this crap, but I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying my best here. I'm trying my best. So when it comes to this right here, what will I have to say? That's the first ability. Fragor Mortis. Mm, just simple main buff attack buff. Until the last hit. It launches 6 grenades on the last one. Um, the weapon is kind of hard to use because this one has. I'm telling you, with this range weapons, it have dead spots. This one has a really bad dead zone. Where I mean dead zone is when you aim down, you can't. You gotta aim down at an angle. That's the only thing. So with this thing, it's very slow, but it could be good. I'll say, I'll say it's cool. I'll say it's cool. It might even be great in the right hands. I'm not gonna hold. It's just the attack speed is kind of low, and you know that's an issue. Um, but when you set it up, I'm sure it does massive damage. All right. You got Orbitum Terminus. Now this one is really good. Um, When you activate it, it essentially creates like 20 devastating lasers from orbit. Um, you can honestly, this is I would say this is really good. This is really good. It does a lot of damage. You can buff it with the signature skill damage, I believe. Um, it just does a lot of damage, AoE, different things like that. It's just really good, really solid skill. Um, when you use it, you'll notice it. Um, I would say this one because you got to shoot the so on shooting a basic attack near an energy orb and randomly spawned in the field. It causes an explosion that damages the nearby enemies, and the orb reappears after 5 seconds. I don't know why I read it that way, but cool. Um, Imagine that just an orb on the field, and then eventually, when you shoot it, it explodes. You gotta aim at it, so that's like the difficulty of it. But it gives you mad damage. So if you set it up right, I think it does a lot of damage. Sometimes the orb just spawns in random places. That's the one thing that I've noticed about it during my gameplay experience is that you know that's the problem. So honestly, I'm gonna just put that in cool. I'm gonna put that in cool. I'm gonna put that in. I think I should put that in great because I feel like sometimes what you call it, but that when it spawns in weird areas, I feel like that really messes you up. Like sometimes a lot of these abilities, you'll really notice that it's kind of inconsistent because of you know like those type of things where it spawns in weird areas, and you just like, yo, nah, I didn't want that to happen. So we're gonna go to the uh, Magnum Cupateri, I believe. Um, and then we're gonna do the Secco Verbera, whatever it's called. So essentially, on spell refresh, the next basic attack creates an energy orb that divides into little small projectiles. Very simple. It's like almost like a shotgun after you get the spell refresh. So if you get a lot of low spell, like a little like lower spell mana, lower mana spells, um, you can kind of spam it. So I would say it's pretty good. Um, it's good. I would say it's good. I would say honestly, I'll put that at the top of cool. Um, it's honestly not bad. It's not. It's good. It's honestly good. You could just keep spraying it. Does solid damage. I'm gonna put that in the great for right now. So we see some other skills. Let's see what the next one is. So we got Miseria Lambrum. All right, this essentially what it does is on dash it deals damage now, and it has a 100% chance to mark an enemy. And on mark enemies, they receive extra damage when they're on get hit by a basic attack. Honestly, it's really good. I like using it. Um, it's just really good. I think it's just really good skill, like making your dash do damage. Think about that. Your dash now deal damage. So you have invincibility on top of your damage output, and it does more damage on top of the next one. Um, Honestly, I'm gonna put that. I want to say broken, but I'll put that at the top of great, only because you got to use your dash for it. It's like me. That's what kind of make gives you a little bit of difficulty using, because having a dash is a resource. So remember that. Yeah, this is just a great ability. Um, Anima Vampiris. Uh, enemy death, you gain one orb of absorb power, and the next basic attack releases an orb, so it's like shots and stuff like that. It releases a powerful shot. Um, Honestly, it's just bad. It don't really have a lot of utility. Um, it's not really that good. I'm actually put this in meh. There's at least one skill that's like a stinker I've noticed with some of these characters, and that's the stinker right there. It's not really that good. Don't use it. All right, so now we have the wrenching whip. Finally, the most normal sounding weapon that he has. And for this one, you have Invictus Tempest, I believe. This one is good, I believe, because you can you it's like an attack rush. Every 6 seconds, the next attack does a basic attack that launches a deadly combo of slashes. Um, so honestly, it's about positioning, because it's gonna essentially let off a long stretch of attacks. So I'll put this at the top of cool. I think there's a lot of value in it. I think it's honestly really good. All right, so next one is Impulsus Repulsa. Now that one is honestly good. It just only happens 10% of the time. So when it does happen, it does a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage. And it does mana regen too, so it's another thing. I'm gonna put that at the end of great. I'm gonna put that at cool. Because 10% is a very low number. Very low. So and the chance that this does happen is really good. That's why I'm putting kind of thinking about putting this at great, but I'm gonna leave this at cool right now. Um, next one for retching whip, we have Potentia Amplific Amplificadio. I know it's terrible. I'm trying. Just laugh at me. Um, so essentially, this is on spell refresh. You gain 6 orbs, and the next basic attack has extended range and damage. Um, Honestly, this one is probably one of the best ones. Once you get refresh, it gives you higher damage, a lot more. It gives you mana regen because well, not the actual strikes, but if you hit them with it, the actual whip, it does mana regen, I believe. It honestly, it's just really good, really good. One of the best abilities in the game. I will honestly put if we had to choose, I would say these two are like neck and neck. The ricochet and the whip spell refresh, and then that one I will put that third. This one I would just put this here because of preference, but Pluto, um, honestly I'll put it like this probably. I might put this here. No, not this. This one here, and then that one is right there, so it could kind of be more evened out. I would think these is how it's supposed to be. This is just the same one. Um, all in all, he has a lot of decent weapons. I would suggest, like I said, having at least one melee weapon and then one ranged weapon to even it out because when you notice like especially with this one, if you use the big cannon, just make sure you use melee weapon because you're gonna start to notice that is kind of slow. Yeah, so just use a melee weapon. All right. Um, Next up, we're gonna do
Grown up.
Kaylee. We're gonna do Kaylee. Kaylee's up next. Sit. Honestly, if you don't guys don't mind, I'm gonna take a quick break, quick 2 minute break, just to go grab something real quick, and I'll be right back. But stay tuned. I'll be right here. All right, I'm back, guys. Um, if I missed anything, let me know. I'm about to get ready back, go back. What Kaylee. Kaylee's an interesting character. Her gems are, I would say that like her gems are like the hardest, not the hardest, but like in order to get good with them, you had definitely have to use a lot of positioning. Trying to get this together right now for her. I got all okay, where is it? Aerial strike, conductive property. I think it's Kaylee and then Yamat. So we're almost done. Not bad. I'm gonna definitely do a more in-depth explanation guide and show you more in game of how they operate. And I could definitely do these in streams as well. Um, just to show you guys like how these operate and work together. But just getting these together just so we can get started. We did conductive field supplies. Just let me know if you guys enjoy Astral Ascent. I plan on making videos on Fallen Fates when it comes out as well. It's just honestly, it's just a really good game. Honestly, I've been addicted to this game ever since I started playing this game, and like it's just really good. Like you honestly I cannot fault you for putting in an insane amount of hours in this game. I honestly can't. Almost got all of them. Homing spear, siege breaker. But let me know if you got if what y'all main characters are. If y'all got main characters, Um, who's your favorite? They're all viable in my opinion. Um, but yeah, I just like playing different games. I like doing Pokemon. I like doing Astral Ascent. Astral Ascent is a really fun game. Feel like it's just really slept on. People don't really talk about it as much, especially when it comes to like roguelikes. Like honestly, this is one of the best roguelikes I've ever played, hands down. Like just the amount of depth that it has is just insane. Um, Trying to make sure I get the right um homing sphere and then avenging shield, and then let's get her icons. I just started doing a more chill video because um you guys get to hear from me. Y'all guys don't have to wait. Y'all could just get instant content, and y'all can honestly just chill out with me. I plan on doing more streams. Maybe I could do pack openings as well if you guys are interested. If anybody's watching from my card pack openings. All right, so we got gems. Oh, I'm missing a few here, honestly. It's three, 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 and then four. Four weapons. Gem, spear, shield, scythe. And then I need to have the last one. I think I'm forgetting. I think siege breaker. So we got that one, that one, that one. We got this one, this one, this one. Okay, so we're missing the scythe. Okay. I thought those wasn't hers, but they actually are. So prize element, guillotine, and then the last one would be destined. No, 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 no. That's not her. Bolt tackle. All right, there we go. All right. So, Kaylee, I would consider her more of a ranged fighter. Um, More ranged, but she have all of these different melee weapons as well. I think the gems are honestly one of the ones that you would use more often than not. Like you would just use the gems and something else just to supplement it. But you can honestly use whatever you want. I would. This is just what I use, but I feel like it. Just adds a little element of depth to her character. Um, just using her, like using the gems and everything like that is just more fun. But you know, just depends on what you want. Now let's get started. We got the gems. We got aerial strike. When it comes to aerial strike, sorry, aerial strike. Let's think on that one. honestly, it's kind of eh, it's not that good. I'll put it in cool. I'll put it in cool. Just this is just being generous, only because it's like every 6 seconds you get your next double jump. It bombards the enemies with 5 feathers. So like imagine Ayla passive with the Night Veil where she gets the extra double jump, but you don't get extra double jump. Um, it's kind of like because you just it's on double jump, so you're wasting a resource to do it, and I know it's just simple to use because you're just gonna do it naturally, but it's not all of that. It's not all that. It's not all that. I'll put it at cool for right now, but it could honestly go on meh because it's not the impact of it. I feel like it doesn't have like an impact over necessarily crazy impact. Um, I would say conductive property is one of her best ones in my opinion. You just have to do a bit of setup essentially on your signature spell. You create damage dealing link between all the gems. And you know how her gem works. You shoot the gems and they stay in a certain place, and it's kind of like you position them in a certain way to where they're kind of like gonna bounce off of each other. They're gonna like it's like imagine a light bouncing off of each other and it's doing mad damage. That's essentially what that is. And the more gems, the more links, and it does a lot of damage. Honestly, one of her best skills in my opinion, one of her best passives. I would use that if you were one of them. Either that or field supplies, which is her next one. Um, it's kind of like I would say is great, honestly, because it's essentially field supplies it creates like a little gem that you have to break down every 5 seconds. After you break it, and it creates these shards, and the gems create extra gems, so that means more power when you recall them with your signature skill. Your signature skill recalls the gems back to you. So, and all of her weapons create gems, mind you. So that's why the melee aspect of it is kind of like, eh. I think that this is probably a great skill to use if you don't really want to use, conductive, conductive, conductive property. All right. So that's it. Done with that. We got her spears. Kaylee Spears. What do we have to say about Kaylee Spears? Call of Arms. So it's really good. Essentially on spellcast, it creates spears that pierce the enemy for 2.2 seconds. Um, you can kind of just use it like an off weapon, and honestly, it does a lot of damage on signature spell. So the signature spell is honestly this one is really good. I'm gonna put this in I think the only thing about her weapons is like the overlap thing. So if you use this as an off weapon, then you will have to find another weapon that is not with her signature skill. So that's the one thing with her passives. Just a little caveat to name that. But yeah, honestly, um this would be broken. Um Next one. Wolf Hole. So essentially every 5 seconds a random enemy is marked. On your top attack, which is your top attack would be just holding up and throwing out an attack so you can hit above you. Um, it launches them towards you. Now this is tough because it could kind of set up your gems. So, but it's kind of weird because you got to use the top attack. in that aspect because it's like weird. Like why you wouldn't think to do that. You would just kind of like set your mind to do that. I would say it's a little bit tough to use. I would just put it in cool, if anything, at the lower end of cool. I wouldn't say it's meh because honestly, getting that spacing, this is just for regular enemies. Bosses is just it's just useless. So in that aspect, I would just give it a little bit of leniency and say it's cool. There might be some application that I don't know about. This is wolf hole, my bad. Next we have homing sphere. In each room, you get the first basic attack throws out a spear. Um, and you can recall it too. The first basic attack it calls a spirit that can be recalled. Um, and on spell refresh, you get an extra spear. Um, Honestly, I would say this is cool too. It's not really all that. The spear is kind of it does a decent amount of damage, decent, but I think it would just be good if it did more damage because on signature on a hit and a recall, it's just not all that. It's once you send out the spear and recall it, that's it for the skill. It does do mana regen, by the way, and it does do multiple hits, so it can set up certain things like that where critical hits and triggering those. So not bad. I would put this at the top of cool. I'll put this at the top of cool because it's not that bad. It's honestly not that bad. All right, next weapon. Her shield. Kaylee's shield. We got Siege Breaker. That will be her next skill. Um, so honestly, I would put this in. I gotta put this in great. I mean, cool. Now this is the thing. It does I'll put this at in there great just to be because it's not a bad skill and it does decent damage. But the problem is when it's essentially it creates a stone block that spawns on the field and it launches 3 damage dealing debris, and it regenerates after 7 seconds. Not bad at all. The only problem is where it respawns, when it spawns, like where it spawns at. That's the problem that I had with it when I used it, because every time when I used it, it would spawn in some random space and you don't really get the benefit, and you will have to walk off screen in order to get the most out of it. For it to reappear. And that's it. It have issues. This one has issues. Um, we got defensive measure. So on spell signature spell, it creates a force field that deflects the recall gems, to you, and it bounces them away from them. Um, it does home. It does home in, like home in after them. So that's a benefit. It scales with it scales with the prowess. The prowesses that increase the max gems on the field, and it can synergize with your field supplies too. Um, so just swapping in and out is kind of like definitely a thing if you want to use that combo, the field supplies and the defensive measures. If you want to use it like that, honestly, it's a good skill. I would honestly have to put this in great. I'll honestly have to put this in. I would probably put this in broken for her because it's kind of hard to kind of hard to use. But I'll put this in great. I'll put this in great. Um, Next up we have Avenging Shield. So every 5 seconds on the last hit of your basic attack, it launches a shield that bounces off enemies. It's super good. Um, This one is really good. It don't have it's like imagine Octave, but it's the shield being thrown around. Honestly, pretty good. Pretty good. It's kind of hard to pick. I would say this one. I would say this one is it's pretty easy to use too. Like you don't have to really have to set it up. The other one you don't really have to set up too much either because you're just recalling the gems, whatever gems. But if you want to make a big explosion of damage, that's where you get like a huge benefit. But this one right here is just kind of like every 5 seconds, boom, throw your shield. So yeah, not bad. And then we have her scythe. Now this one right here, so her first one is surprise element. Every 6 seconds, one random enemy is marked, and when you attack it, it creates another slice. Um, Pretty much. This um, this is a great ability. This is a great ability. Essentially, like the hit marker. So I want to honestly put this right here. I'll put this right here. I'll put this right here. Actually, I'll put this right here. I'll put this right here. Um, then we have guillotine. On spellcast, summons a falling scythe from the sky that hits nearby enemies. And if you didn't hear on spellcast, so on each spellcast, it regenerates mana for you because of that thing falling on top of their head. That's insane. Guillotine is kind of busted. Um, it regens you health. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna put that in broken. I'm gonna put that in broken. Cause that's you gain mana back for throwing out a for throwing out a spell. That's kind of insane. Last one, Volt Tackle. Um, so every 4 seconds you gain an orb. On dash, you create a damage dealing trail of lightning. Um, it's not bad. Um, I would say this one would be kind of cool. I'll say this is cool. I'll say this is cool. I wouldn't say great. It's cool. Um, Essentially leaves the area of denial essentially. So in that, if they're still in that area, it's just going to keep dealing damage to them over time. So that's requires you to think ahead of time. Certain enemies move around a lot. So if you have something that can kind of keep them in that area, that'll be beneficial to you. Um, it eats through armor. That's another thing about multi hits. If I didn't explain, multi hits chew through armor. So you will need that, especially to get through a lot of different enemies. So I would definitely use that. Um, and that will be a last weapon right there. This is what I would think about using her shield and gems, but you can also use the scythe and the gems or the scythe and the shield. Those are definitely some optimal combos. Um, I would suggest using things like that. Definitely. And then we're gonna be down to our last character right here, Yamat. Um, Yamat. Yamat is kind of balanced, kind of balanced. Um, Really well-rounded set of passives. And honestly, it's crazy how I didn't put no meh abilities for Kaylee. Like I feel like some of them have usage. It's just she's just difficult in general to use. So it's kind of like in order to get the best stuff out of her abilities, you would just be working hard anyway. Not that the abilities are bad, it's just you got to work hard to get a lot of value out of, you know, different ones compared to other characters, essentially. Not to say that every character is easy. The game isn't easy at all, but you know, just being able to maximize the damage and everything like that. She just presents a different, unique play style. Mm, general, art of war, meteor volley, uh, sonic boom. Nishi seal.
That's why.
All right, and then I'm gonna choose her. Hold on, I'm about to get that all together now, and then we're gonna be on our last character. Hopefully, this didn't take too long. I was trying to make it as fast as possible, but um, also give you guys a lot of insight on the different things that I think about as well. I mean, there's a lot of things that if you guys have questions about, you could always ask me. You could always hit me up. Um, I don't mind it. Comment, subscribe, everything like that. Um, Let me just set this up real quick because we're down to our last character. Mm, All right. So, Yamat, we're going to start off with Fighting Spirit, and we're going to start with underscore breach. Underscore breach. Let me see here. Um, I would say it's super easy to use. Low committal because of the fall attack. Does good damage. Um, um, Honestly, it's just really good. On fall attack, it creates a breach in the ground, so it's just pretty much like a fissure into the ground. It does decent damage. Um, Honestly, really good. I'm gonna put that in great. Actually, I'm gonna put that in great. I think it's just really over a solid skill. I want to say it's like it's gonna blow your. It's gonna definitely do. You're gonna definitely notice that how good it is. Like it's not really that. It's not really no weakness to it other than it being a floor based ability. So whatever's on the floor will do damage to. But all in all, good. Um, Spirit Rising. Um, Essentially, in each room, you receive 3 orbs in every spell refresh, and you gain an additional 2. Now, each basic attack essentially launches a phoenix towards them, and you gain mana regen from that. Crazily enough, um, really good. Um, mm, I think that it's just crazy how I think it's just really good. I don't know. It's really good. You gain a mana regen and is making your what you call it longer. Your attack, your essentially it attacks them randomly. That's one thing you kind of gotta knock points off of it for a little bit. But overall, it gives you extra mana, infinite range. Yeah, pretty good. Um, then we have Obsidian Worm. Every 6 seconds, one random enemy is marked, and on hitting them, it throws out a black dragon. Um, it's really good. Um, yeah, it's really good. I would say it's really good. It doesn't do mana regen, just to let you know. But solid skill. I'll put this in great. Um, we got the Oblivion Sword next. Excuse me. And with this one, we have Destined Death. Um, Essentially on spell cast, 50% of the time it leaves a mark on the enemy on 5 enemies, and doing a fall attack drops swords on top of their head from the sky. So you kind of want to realize how much spell damage you're doing. You mean spells you're doing because you might do too many, and the marks kind of it's random, you know. So I would say you just don't want to keep applying that same mark on the same enemy. It won't work that way. And it's mana regen, so you got to think about that too. Pretty strong, pretty strong. I will put this in great. I'll put this in great. I wouldn't say I would say broken. I would say broken because this is mana regen and it's just a change of playstyle. That's the only thing. Um, but really good. Um, Next we have Rift Slayer. Rift Slayer. It's on hitting an orb. Um, with a basic attack, it creates a breach that pretty much attracts everybody into that area. Really good. But honestly, you can use the signature skill to fly above it and then attack it, and then like kind of attack it from above, not from below. Because if you attack from below, the enemy's gonna be dragged to the top of you. So it's just a little bit of positioning thing. I would say it's great. Um, I would say it's great. It just has a little bit of risk to it. So if you want to knock points off for having some type of risk associated to using it, you can put it in cool. But I would just put it in great. Stern presence. Um, Honestly, I'm gonna put this in cool. I'm gonna put this in cool, just because it's more. It's not easy, but it's not what you call it, and it just requires some setup. I'm gonna put it in cool. Oh, what is this? So, Art of War. After a spell refresh, your next basic attack turns into a dodge. Um, Really good. Doesn't really do any mana regen, but you're fully invincible during it. Um, It is really good because you can combo different dodge spells with it for the Art of War. And it being a dodge, that's really good. I'm gonna put this in great, honestly, because that's a lot of that's it's very its utility is really good. You're dealing damage while being invincible. There's certain times where there's abilities like where you want to avoid something like that, and you can keep doing it after a spell refresh. So there's that utility of it of having spell refresh and things like that. So really good. Um, Next you have her stellar cord bow. Um, you got Ranger General. That's her first spell. One of the easiest passives to use because the crows. Summon two dark crows to follow you around and attack nearby enemies. Every time you take damage, the crows reappear back, and then they reappear after 8 seconds. So honestly, really good. Um, it does mana regen. Crazily enough, those actual crows do mana regen on top of your regular attacks. So you know, really good if you want to. Really good, really good. I will put this right here. Put this right here. Really good. Ranger General. If it's simple to use. We got Meteor Volley for the next one. Um, I will put this. I'll put this in great. So essentially, I'm gonna put this right here in great. Essentially, this is one that I use personally, but it's like a shotgun. Essentially, when collecting an arrow, you gain 4 orbs, and each attack it launches 4 arrows at the same time in like a cone shape. So when you're doing that, first of all, if you mad close, you do a lot of damage. You can rack up a lot of damage very quickly. And it's just a solid ability. Collecting an arrow isn't hard, especially when you're doing like your signature spell, flying all around the area and just dropping down the missiles. Really good. Um, Sonic Boom is next. Um, in each room, you receive 4 orbs, and on every spell refresh, you receive an additional 2. On dashing, you consume an orb to invoke a shadow clone. And honestly, it does solid damage. Is the only thing is setting it up, and that's the only bad part about it. So I would just put it in cool just because it's honestly a great ability. But if you compare it to the rest of her abilities, you will kind of notice that some of these kind of fall a little flat, to be honest. Um, yeah. So that's the only part. Honestly, a lot of these skills can go into near broken territory, but compared to the rest of her skills, this one is not like lackluster. This is honestly a great skill, but just setting it up is a little bit harder. Um, and then we have the last weapon, which is her symmetrical lance. First ability, detonation seal. On spell refresh, it applies a mark on three nearby enemies, and it causes them to explode. Essentially, on spell refresh, you use after your spell refresh, it puts them marks on them. Use their signature spell, they explode. Honestly, this is not a bad ability. It's just a little bit of setup. Because you have to do spell refresh and then set up the what you call it. I'm gonna put this on top of cool actually. I'm gonna put this on top of cool. It's not bad. Just a little bit. What you call it? Honestly, I'm gonna put this at the integrate. Decent damage, a lot of AOE, and a lot of her skills is just solid. Let's go. We got. Chaotic Surge. So on basic attack, 30%, it releases a wave of energy towards your random direction. So honestly, I would say it's cool. I'll say it's great. I'll say it's cool. Top of cool. It's really good. Really easy to use, solid to use. Um, it's really good because that wave of energy is always going to be procking off. 30% sounds like not a lot, but you'll notice it. It's noticeable. It's not like a big game changer compared to a lot of our other skills, but just really solid, really solid. Um, and then we have the last one, which is the Radiant Prism. Once you collect this orb, it creates a slash that nearby enemies, and it's mana regen. So all in all, I would say this is another cool skill. I would say it's really good because it does decent damage. And it does mana regen. It's just collecting the orb, and compared to the other skills, a lot of these skills can be put in different ones can be put in broken. But this is how I would tier all of her weapons and weapon passives. Um, and that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll definitely do another one very soon. Another video. If you guys enjoyed, just let me know. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. See you guys later. Peace.